Good afternoon. My name is Maria Correa, and I'm going to be talking about all the shortcomings and missing features of our project HOMA. So the more obvious problem that we faced was that HOMA is very much a new concept known. A lot of people haven't heard about HOMA because it hasn't been implemented in any productions as of now. HOMA was first introduced in 2015 and was only first developed in 2018 by a group of MIT professors. And as opposed to TCP, for example, TCP was developed in the 70s. So it had over 50 years of it being developed and improved over time. So HOMA still has a long way to go. And unfortunately, that cost us a lot of trouble in finding good resources and good repositories for us to work from. For example, the first repository that we looked into was the original repository by the author of HOMA. And it unfortunately did not work. It has a lot of problems, a lot of errors were thrown. I believe one of them had to do with the version of Linux that we were using. And as you can see here, this specific repository hasn't been updated since November of last year. So there's still a lot of things missing. We also tried another one called HOMA module, which is a Linux kernel implementation of HOMA, which is the one being updated the most. As you can see, still being updated as of now from last month. However, unfortunately, this one also gave us a lot of trouble implementing it in our system. We also tried other ones, such as the HOMA simulation, one that was implemented with a gRPC implementation that also did not work, unfortunately. And last but not least, we were able to find one that used the NS3 that actually worked for us. So we use this as our base of our project. So there are, however, a lot of constraints in our HOMA implementation with NS3. One of those, for example, being that the maximum message size that HOMA can transport at the moment is that of about 100 megabytes. After 100 megabytes, the HOMA protocol doesn't work. So as you can see on this graph, where we compare TCP versus HOMA, even though it's a lot faster than TCP and HOMA is meant to transport small sizes of messages, it does fail after 100 megabytes. So it's very limited. And also, there are other constraints in HOMA in general, not just in our implementation. For example, it is meant to work with large data centers. However, it is unlikely to work well in wide area networks. And there are some things that HOMA assumes, such as congestion occurring only at host downlinks, not at the core of the network. Also, per packet spraying to ensure load balancing. And lastly, single implementation of HOMA for each host. So, as mentioned before, HOMA is a lot faster and very much reliable, unlike TCP for large data centers. However, TCP, as mentioned before, has been developed and implemented since the 70s, so it has a lot of wide variety of supporting libraries. And TCP also has been implemented in most environments, unlike HOMA, which as of now hasn't really been implemented in anything that is in production. And also to be able to implement HOMA in anything, you have to pretty much build it from scratch. So we had pretty hard time being able to find something that worked for us. And that is the end of our constraints and missing features of our project. Thank you.